The other thing that I'd like to see done is I'd like to see council members go on the record when they cast a vote. I would like to have them explain why they voted the way they did. That's important. It's important for the community to understand what their reasoning was. And also it sets a record. Okay, all right, Mark, I'll try to pull it up in time. But it sets a legislative record that's there for people to find when they're trying to interpret ordinances or interpret other actions of the council. Sometimes we haven't always had that, okay? And that's not good. The other thing is that I would be prepared. I would come to the council meetings prepared. I would not only read that packet, I would visit with other council members, ask them what they thought about this or that, maybe over the telephone, maybe over coffee. But be ready when we arrive at the council meeting to be able to have a meaningful dialogue and make a meaningful decision. And those would be the things that would be my top. I've got a list of them, but those would be the three top. So thank you.
Mr. Lester, same question to you. What is one of your favorite things about being a part of Norwalk, and what are 3 goals that you would like to accomplish during your tenure if elected as a Norwalk City Council person?
Favorite thing about Norwalk is I'm a camper, so when I go camping and you're sitting around a campfire with people and you can just talk, is the feel that Norwalk has of that still.
Yeah.
You can sit around in your front yard with your neighbors and talk. There's not a lot of communities, there's a lot of them that have that still, but there's not a lot in the metro that have that, where you have communities that shut roads down for block parties still on a regular basis. I see that a lot in Norwalk. You don't see that out and about, and I love that about Norwalk. I love that I know my neighbors. I love that if I'm going out of town for some reason, I can tell my neighbor, and I'm going to get a phone call when something weird is happening if the car's parked outside my house. That's funny. I like that. I like the fact that the police are driving by. I like the fact that they're meeting with neighbors and talking to people, and they've done it for years. So those are my things that I like about Norwalk, is the feel. The feel is a community. That my 3 accomplishments, I've said it, I want to change the time of these council meetings. I think 6 o'clock is ridiculously early for our community. I know some people may not agree with that, but I believe that council meetings should be set for the community's convenience, not for my convenience, not for staff's convenience. It should be set for the citizens' convenience. Number 2, I really feel like getting the council meetings placed online, live. I think Des Moines can get them on they have a cable station that they get to put them on. But we're not going to have that right away. We're not going to have that for several years. But I think that getting Norwalk's city council meetings online, if it can't happen live right away, I think it's something that we need to be striving for. And the last one is continuing forums and communities. I know we've got the community chats that happen now, and those primarily involve the mayor and staff. But I think that council members should be at those on a regular basis too. Not all of them. I know they can't all be there because then they have to call a meeting and post and all that. But I think that council members should be rotating in and out of those so that they can hear and so that they can explain their decisions. If people have questions and say, why did you vote this way? Why did you do this? I think that that's something that there needs to be forums and opportunities for council members to be sharing with the public on a regular basis.
Same question to you, Mrs. Riva. What's one thing that you really love about being a part of Norwalk, and what are 3 accomplishments you would like to achieve if elected as a city council person of Norwalk?
The one thing I love about Norwalk, which is the same as you just heard, is the atmosphere, the environment. It's very friendly. It's a safe environment, and it's very welcoming. And I've moved a lot in my life, and I've moved from different states, and this is an area I have lived in Norwalk longer than I have lived in any other place, and I have no intentions of moving. It's this community just kind of wraps its arms around you, and I really enjoy that. The priorities, what I would want to accomplish if I was on city council is, number 1, to preserve that sense of community. I think it's very important. So, the planning, we don't lose that is really important to me. So I want to spend more time, at least from my conversations I've had with existing council members, I think that more time needs to be spent on actually planning and really mapping out where we're going to go and how we're going to get there. The second thing I'd like to do is to have better communication with the community. A lot is already done. The community chats, the mayor's moments, anybody can come to a city council meeting and, very few people do. I think that we could better embrace technology. We have a Facebook page, but there's really not that much posted on it. We have a website, but it's really kind of wonky sometimes on the menu, and trying to find things is not that easy. So, I would like to get some kind of a public input section, particularly, going maybe to the high schools and some of the college kids and saying, how would you like to be communicated with? Because, you're the ones that are going to be using this technology, so what is the way that works best for you? The different generation uses technology different than I do. And I guess the final would be, just in general, to have the council be more proactive in some of the city budget decisions, and I haven't been involved one-on-one on those, but I think a lot of it is that the budget is presented, and it is an overwhelming amount of information, and it takes a lot of time to understand all those different line items. But I would like to see maybe more interaction in discussing the expenses and really digging down and pushing back a little bit on some of the things that I think might be a little excessive.
It's now time for closing remarks. You'll each be given 2 minutes to make your closing remarks and statements. First up, Mr. Lester.
I'm going to be brief tonight because you guys have been here for a while, and let you get on your way if you want to. I'm going to ask for your vote on November 3rd because I care about the direction of the city of Norwalk. Been in and around it almost all my life. I care about how the big picture affects things, down to what type of decking you put on the front of your house, to what type of road surface you can put in your driveways. Those things are things that councils decide and affect everybody. I'm not running because of just one or two issues. I've been asked, are you running because the city cut your fireworks funding? I said no. I was running before the fireworks funding was cut, so I just want to lay that out there. It's not why I'm running. I want to see Norwalk be the best it can be. I've grown up in this area, been involved and a leader of many community groups. I'm an Eagle Scout. I've given back to the community. I want your vote so that I can be in position to help council make Norwalk the crown of the Des Moines Metro. Make us the peak. Make us what everybody wants to be. Norwalk's not Windsor Heights. It's not Waukee. It's not Ankeny, and it's not West Des Moines. Norwalk should continue to have its own feel and own identity, and I believe we can learn a lot from studying and watching these other cities, but also learn from what not to do. I want to help lead the city now, but I want to make it a place in 20 years that everybody looks back and says, boy, that was a good idea. I'm glad they did that. The council of the day will guide us into the future. I want to listen to citizens of Norwalk as to what direction we're heading, and push for an open and transparent city government, meeting the needs of its citizens, even when it isn't convenient for us as elected officials or for city staff. I want to make sure we have everybody on the bus in the right seat. That's important to me, making sure they're in the right seat on the bus. Not everybody's in the right position all the time, but it's something we need to do. So I want your vote on November 3rd. Thank you.
Mrs. Riva, your closing remarks.
Growth isn't coming to Norwalk at some fuzzy point in the future. It's already here. So I believe it's critical for the city to be proactive, not reactive, as I just said earlier. Be proactive in managing that growth so that it occurs in a way that balances the needs of existing businesses and residents with the new ones that are coming in. The city would benefit from more commercial development, but it needs to be pursued in a thoughtful manner. And as I said earlier, that means that using the comp plan as a guide for fostering development, we need to look for businesses that will complement and create synergy with existing businesses, not necessarily replace place them. And we also need to have businesses that will serve the needs of residents and create good jobs. When it comes to neighborhood development, we need to look at a way of developing and redeveloping some of the older parts of town in a way that unifies the community and that also considers the impact of the development on schools and on our public safety and the quality of life. So that means looking at signage, land use buffers, and the adequate staffing and funding of the fire and police departments. When it comes to infrastructure, it absolutely needs to be prioritized that we maintain what we have, but we also have to look at funding projects that allow our community to grow in a balanced manner and a smart manner in the future. Maintenance and growth doesn't come cheap. The city needs to maintain fiscal discipline, needs to stick to its budget. We're considering things like tax abatements and TIF districts. It needs to also be mindful of the impact on providing services to existing residents and the impact on schools. I'm a Norwalk business owner with proven leadership ability. I care deeply about the community and I'm concerned about how Norwalk will manage its growth. If elected, I'll use the skills and knowledge gained through my professional and volunteer work to ensure that Norwalk grows in a planned, balanced, and fiscally responsible manner while preserving its sense of community that makes it a special place to live and work. I would appreciate your vote on November 3rd. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cool, your closing remarks.
And I like that bell. I guess I get to have the real closing, don't I? So that's pretty nice. This community knows me. They know the kinds of decisions I make. They know how I make my decisions. What you see is what you get with me. And I think that I have a record of performance as a community leader that the community found acceptable. I made efforts, and I think I was successful at being able to bring people together and resolve issues in ways that were helpful for the community and helpful for the people involved. I think the other thing that's important, and you got three very good people here, I think, four very good people that are running for three spots. But what's important is that each one of us brings a different perspective and a different toolkit to the job. So we're going to see things a little bit differently, as far as how we approach it. I think that's important to keep in mind. And I think I can make a contribution to the community, not only for what's happening now, but what goes on in the future. Like I said earlier, our grandchildren live here. This is a really nice place to live. Forbes magazine said Norwalk is one of the best places to move to if you're going to move to the suburb. I want to keep it that way. We're going to grow, we're going to develop. We need to manage that growth. We need to have the kind of growth that we want to have because it's going to happen anyway. But I would like to be involved in that and be a part of that decision making. And thank you very much again for letting us appear tonight. Thanks for hosting the forum, and we appreciate it.
Thank you to everyone for coming out tonight for our forum. Thank you to all the candidates. Please remember our next forum is set for November 2nd at 7 p.m.
Is there a particular reason why the fourth person is not here?
He is out of the country, or at least out of Iowa.
Toronto.
Huh?
He's in Toronto.
Yes, so. And we had to pick a couple dates, and we asked all the candidates, and so. But he will be here for the next one.
Hey, David, thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
And there are cookies and lemonade, so please take some.